Hello everybody. Today I will be telling the story of running. Now you may not think there must be maybe a story about running, but well, if you actually watch this video, maybe you'll find out running has a huge history. So the story of running is a big factor in life, and I'll get to that in a second. Right now, I'm just going to start story time with AJ, and we'll see where it goes. We're going to go back 20 years here to a scientist was studying a rabbit. And rabbits have like slinky-like stomachs, which a scientist was looking at. And the slinky-like stomach helps them propel forward. And that's why rabbits have speed, and well, it's just one factor in their speed. And so he wondered why they had these stomachs. And he saw that they were fast, but then he asked, what makes them slow? And, well, that's easy. What makes you slow is the same thing for everybody. If you have no air, you have no oxygen. You can't breathe. Have you ever tried sprinting with holding your breath? I just want to see how far you get. But then, so he wondered about this. He wondered, what was about breathing, and he wondered about human evolution. Because humans have a long history of things. And back then, I guess it is once believed that back millions of years ago, humans once walked on all fours, which makes total sense. You see that evolutionary picture of them getting no. I don't have to explain it, do I? And he finally realized that the reason why humans gradually stood up is to open their chests so they could breathe more. To open their throats, swell out their chest, and suck in air better than any creature on the planet. Because, well, humans can do that. And then everyone else said, and so his conclusion was that humans stood up to go running. And then people said, no, that's not true. A lot of people contradicted him, blah, 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 blah. A lot of people said, you're wrong because humans suck at running compared to the other animal kingdom. Because back then, you have to think about the animal kingdom, because, no one can run, Usain Bolt, his fastest, he can't even top 30 miles an hour, while other animals can top 50. So that doesn't make sense. So he was almost quit because, well, most people didn't believe him, because species evolve at what they're good at, and essentially, like I said, humans aren't good at running, right? And then, so, he thought of another thing. He thought of something called the Neanderthal riddle. Now, most people think Neanderthals were our ancestors, but they were actually a parallel species that competed with Homo sapiens. That's us. Neanderthals aren't us. Not before Homo sapiens, they're competing with Homo sapiens for survival. And competed is not really the word. The Neanderthals, our enemies, had us beat many ways. They were smarter, they had burlier muscles, they were stronger, they had harder to break bones, better natural insulation against the cold, and a bigger brain. And so they were more gifted, blah, 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 better, just like the smarter kid, I don't know, in school. And that was the interesting thing. So, where are these Neanderthals today? Well, within 10,000 years of the arrival of Homo sapiens, they vanished. How it happened, still no one knows today. The only explanation is that some mysterious X factor gave us, the weaker, stupider, dumber, skinnier creatures, a life or death edge over the Ice Age All-Stars. It wasn't strength, it wasn't weapons, it wasn't intelligence, we deduced, because, well, we weren't smarter. But the scientist, again, the same guy, came up with the same theory and went back to running. Could have been running ability. Now that sounds pretty odd, but just give me a second to evaluate that story. Now, just let that theory settle for a second. I haven't got there yet. Now, Neanderthals also were on all fours. But Homo sapiens decided to stand up. And so, since there were no Neanderthals left, he had to compare this to another animal that, what did standing up give an advantage to humans that other animals didn't have? And so, one day, he examined this guy running against a horse, and the horse and him were running the same speed, so the horse wasn't like galloping away. And he noticed something. He noticed that the human has a shorter stride than the horse. Now, no. The average human has a longer stride than a horse, even though the horse has 4 legs, because the horse will get in the air, but then its back legs will come down, so it won't be in the air as long. So it won't have as long stride as a human. So they put this to a test, and there's actually a marathon. Let me see. There's a 50-mile man against horse race in Prescott, Arizona, and a horse has not won this race in 16 years because humans are just better. And so the scientists found that interesting, and all that other stuff. Also, these other Harvard scientists tested a cheetah. And they made a cheetah run on a treadmill. You know, cheetahs can run 50 miles an hour. And once its temperature hit 105 degrees, the cheetah shut down and refused to run, like it was almost dead. But still, the question remained. If a cheetah can run 50 miles an hour and a horse can outsprint you if you try to outsprint it, how did the human survive if they were in a world with speed, but they had endurance? Because who cares if you can run 26 miles, but they're going to catch you in 10 seconds. So if you believe that theory, we'd be extinct. But obviously, that's not true. So, on to the next thing. Again, so I haven't mentioned, David Carrier is the scientist's name. He started looking at the body, and he started looking at certain things of why are we so good. And he looked at our heads. And he discovered from a lot of tests, I could blabber on forever, your head works with your arms to keep you from twisting and swinging mid-stride. It stops you from going like that mid-stride, like, arms forward. Coach always says that, so do it. Your head is made to help you do that. It helps you from twisting. And then, he found out the body is made for running and the body is made for endurance, but that still didn't answer the speed question I posted a long time ago, or why we were dominant over Neanderthals. And so the other thing. And so he was looking through of why did we become the dominant species? And certain things of our species has been around for approximately 2 million years. The bow and arrow is only 20,000 years old, and the spear is only 200,000 years old. So roughly for 1.8 million years, we had nothing. We had no weapons, nothing. So how do we get our food? How did we live? Obviously, you can't survive 1.8 million years. You could easily go extinct in that period. But obviously, we made it through okay. So again, scientists have to go and dig for that. And they found out that in today's society, DNA, they found out is 99.9% the same as it was, like a few million years ago. But somehow, we have changed. And what scientists discovered is that back then, what would we do to hunt animals is we would chase antelope or deer or anything until it was exhausted. Because, oh yes, I forgot to mention this. Animals can only breathe at a 1-to-1 ratio, so 1 stride for 1 breath. While humans, you can choose as many. If you want to take 8 breaths in 1 stride, you can do that. I don't know if you can do it fast enough, but you could if you want. You can choose whatever you want. Usually 2-to-1 is the best stride length. That's probably the main thing. You probably do that without thinking. And what was I going with this? And animals can't do that. They have to choose 1-to-1. They have to take a stride, so they have to breathe. And humans also, what we also do that helps us run is we sweat. We're the only things on Earth that sweat to get rid of heat, to prevent ourselves from overheating. Whereas the cheetah, when he reaches 105 degrees, he's out. He's done. His body really can't do anything to prevent that. It just, when it happens, it's done. And it really will fall over from exhaustion and want to die. Now, that is an interesting point, because what they figured humans would do back then, is they would chase a cheetah. Now, a cheetah would, of course, they would chase like an antelope or anything. Now, of course, antelopes, they can go 30 miles an hour, they can go 40, so obviously, you're going to have to chase it. But they would chase it for a long time, because humans had endurance. Again, I stress that they made it, is that they didn't realize that they didn't care about the speed because the antelope would obviously have the advantage, but they had to chase it for 15 to 25 kilometers to kill it until it died from exhaustion. Because it can run like the first half mile so fast. All you have to do is keep it in sight and just keep going towards it, and then it will keep running away from you. Because the only way animals can breathe, can stop, and recover is they have to completely stop. They only can do that 1-to-1 ratio. But if they need to breathe more, they need to completely stop, giving humans ample time to get closer to them. So as soon as they got tired, they have to completely stop. Now humans don't have to do that. You've been running. You're really tired. At least you can jog a little bit. At least you can do that, or maybe you can you slow down a little bit, but you can keep going. So that was it. That was how humans made it through that 1.8 million years. Is they would chase animals to exhaustion, and so the scientists tested this out, and they actually found a guy in Africa who can hunt animals without any weapons. He just chased them down, and it takes you 3 to 5 hours, but back then, if you don't do that, you're dying, so you're going to do that. Like, that's all you got to do. You got your family, you got food, and survival, and that's it. And so, that kind of made sense, and so that's why humans run long today. Like, people can run for 3 hours. You got to do 3 to 5 hours of hard running to find these guys. And so, I think it makes perfect sense why a lot of people do marathons, is because it takes like 3 to 2 hours, 2 to 5 hours to do a marathon. So it's the same thing. And so that's how really running has evolved, is because we stand up so we are able to breathe easier and run. And that's the story of running. And so humans are literally born to run. So remember when you do that. No other sport is like that. You carry on the human race by running, in a way. So I just want you guys to know that when you run, you literally do something you were made to do, you were built to do. So don't think, if you don't think you're meant for running, everyone's meant for running, because you wouldn't be alive, we wouldn't be alive years ago we had to run, so just remember that. That is the story of running. I hope I told it good. I know I looked at my book a few times, but other things. I want to talk about shoes, but Coach General is a big shoe guy, so I don't want to influence you guys, but I do have a few good things to say about shoes. If you want to hear my shoe advice, message me, because I think I have a few good things to say, but I don't want Coach General to kill me. Because I know he's the big shoe man, and what I will say is probably against what he will want you to know, even though I think it's for the better good of you guys. But for the good of the team, it is his team, so I gotta let him run his team like he would. Yeah, guys, we'll see. This may be the last video. I got nothing else to talk about, but yeah, if you have any questions, message me. Hopefully me and Jimmy will have a few videos to make a VT. I leave on Tuesday. I don't know if I'll come to practice. Probably won't. Jimmy's come back for the first meet, so Andrew and him will see you guys there. I probably won't. I gotta be honest. Why mile stats stop your times? No. But will I come back and see you? Yes. I'm not gonna tell you, all this BS where I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be back every day, guys. But yeah, you guys don't need me. I'll upload this video to YouTube, and I hope you guys have an amazing season. If I don't make a video till then, just remember, you are all born to run.